Alright, well, I'm going to try to document some of this. This is the Hothead headliners as I put them on. Comes packaged very nicely. I did get the Sound Assassin bars to go with it. Comes with a roller, all your instructions, a decal, some sandpaper. You have to go buy your own acetone, which I have some of that. I just got a regular one at Ace Hardware. It cost about 12 bucks. And you can see I took the tops off already for the front. I'm gonna have to get some help here in a little bit and get it set up to set the bottom one here. First step is, according to the instructions, we're supposed to sand this area on these tops. This area is supposed to be cleaned but not sanded. The Sound Assassin bars fit in here, and apparently you don't sand that area. This you rough it up with the sandpaper for the front panels. So I'm going to do that, and then you're supposed to wipe it down with acetone a couple of times. So I figured, since I have to wipe the whole thing down with acetone anyway, I will just do the sanding first on these portions, and then wipe it all down twice afterwards and let it dry once. And have a clean rag, it says, to wipe it. We want to get everything off of there so that when you have a stick down, it actually sticks and doesn't, it's not just sticking to powder, that's actually sticking to the product, to your hardtop. So it's some circular motion. You can see the dust comes off pretty easy. So basically, if you look at the pieces here, you see there's two strips on here. That's the area that you want to have sanded down, where those stick down. And then these, where they stick down, it's going to be between the slots. So this will fit on top of the, but it's not glued to the Sound Assassin. So there we go. I'm going to wipe it up now and let it dry a couple times, and then we'll start sticking stuff down. When you're going to put these on, you do have to trim them. They're all the same length, and they're apparently a little too long for each section. So the instructions say to take those pieces that you trim off as you go along and to splice them into where there's curves or corners to get them into that area as well. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna trim them with just probably a pair of scissors like that and stick them all down. So these are extremely flexible and bendable. So what I'm doing is I'm just pushing them in so they cover both the sides of this, and they kind of wrap a little bit around the bottom. So when you put these in, you can tuck them in there real nice and get them to fit. Just remember, if you go beyond about here, if you go that far, you'll be beyond where the black mat goes and you'll have the silver showing. So you'll want to keep them inside the parameters here. You have a nice little roller. You can put some pressure on there and really be sure these are stuck down good. Like they said in the instructions, orient them first so you know exactly which one goes on which side, so you don't peel the tape off and get them stuck. And then when you put them down, if you're familiar with using 3M or any of those tapes, you really want to be sure you have it lined up good before you stick it down, because if you put any pressure on it, it'll be stuck down in the wrong place and you'll go to tear it off and it'll just be a mess. So I'm going to install the two panels, and before you take any tape off, lay them in here. Be sure that you got the right one for each side. They kind of don't fit anywhere else, and they're going to fit real nice. They've been cut out. You can see they're trimmed perfectly to fit this space. So it's really hard to mess them up as far as getting them on the wrong side. Just want to be sure you have that tape good and ready before you stick them down. They really fit nice. They're cut to perfection. So the other thing I'd just like to say is, like, you notice where I have these on the bench, I have a blanket laying down so you don't scratch the other side of your top moving them around. It's a good idea. There are some people who want to paint this because they don't like the white. I actually like the white because I think it helps get rid of some of the dark that's in there. And but you would want to paint. Be sure if you paint it that you masked it off so that you did not get any paint on that back side where that panel is. Because I don't think that will stick. And there's another Jeep here. So the yellow Jeep was two young men, which helped me lift the top off. You don't have to in the instructions. I just wanted to because I want to do a real good clean on it anyway, and I've never taken it off yet. The thing's almost 2 years old and just haven't done it, so wanted to see how it all came off. It came off real easy. Basically 8 Torx-headed bolts and unplug where the defroster goes, and you're good to go. So I'll get working on the acetone on this and get it cleaned up. I've already sanded it. As you can see, it's about twice the space as the other one to prepare. Maybe, well, no, probably 3 times the space. They also send you a long black strip in here in your kit, and that goes in the centerpiece right there. Also with no sound assassin on it, because that stuff doesn't stick to the sound assassin. Whatever you do, I didn't order the side panel ones, but whatever you do when you do this, do not try to stick that stuff to the sound assassin, because it says in the instructions don't do that. So I assume it just have a hard time sticking. So we're going to acetone this, and then I'll stick the other panels down. Okay, again, they give you more of this stuff than just laying one strip down, so you have enough here to, with scissors, you can cut and splice and fill the whole space. Now it does say if you have the satellite radio, not to use one spot because it could interfere with the satellite. I don't have a satellite radio, and I'm not planning on getting one, so I'm just going to put all the sound assassin in on the full stripes. So that's the way it looks for mine. I got them filled in all the space where the mat's going to be and covered them with that sound assassin material, and that should be good enough to stick the other ones down. So I'll do that. This is just showing you line them up, be sure you got the right one for the right side, and that's about the way they're going to fit in there. In particular, one of the reasons I wanted to take the top off was to be sure that I could get good pressure on the tape. In the instructions, you have to push the stuff up against the ceiling when it's up, and I don't know, I think it'd be very difficult to get the amount of pressure that you knew that the 3M tape stuck. Now I'm sure it works, but for me, and wanting to be thorough, I put it down here because I can push on these edges really, really hard and just run them all the way down on each piece and get them good and stuck down. So that was part of my reason for being sure I did it this way. So that's it. It's a done deal. So all together, with the help taking the roof off, the roof took us like 8 minutes, and then all of this, it probably took about 40 minutes to an hour to do the whole job. So it's not too hard, and I'll give you a review on the product after I get to try it out some. I figured I'd show you the inside of it anyway. Once it's in, looks fits nice and tight. Looks like that. Front looks like that. And I'll have to give you a review after I actually get to use it. You have to excuse my wires over there. I'm wiring a power inverter, which I found my own unique location. I will warn you, it takes a little bit of factory trimming on some plastic, but when it's done, my power inverter is going to be right there up on top, and I can run cords even out the back window if I choose to or anything. And it's looking a little rough right now. I'll get it cleaned up as it dries and is in place, but it clears the roof by just a little bit, so that works good. I just have to trim a little plastic off the speaker casing, which is interesting because inside the speaker casing they are encased in more plastic. So that top cover isn't the only cover to keep water out. So then I sealed it up after I put that on there. So even if water does get on it, it's totally sealed now. But anyhow, I have another project in the front window, and when I do that project, I'll run those wires under the hood to one of my my 40 amp auxiliary buttons, so it'll have more than enough to handle what I'm inverting. So anyhow, there you go. Looks good, and I can only imagine it's going to be a lot quieter in here, and that this is going to keep some of that sun that's beating off it, keep the temperature cooler in here. So we'll give it a try and let you know. I've put about probably 350, 400 miles on. I'll give you a review of the Hothead liner. First off, I'm in Montana, and weather has been crazy. Since our last video, we've been down to 28 degrees. We've been up to 87 degrees. And that's just the way it is here in the spring. You'll have a cold front come in. We actually had several inches of snow, and then 2 days later, it's up into the 80s again. So I'll just say it does provide more insulation. I think it probably runs 10 degrees cooler in here. Just sitting in the parking lot or whatever before you turn the AC on, it just seems like it protects it a little bit more as far as the heat coming through. The sound is probably, and I don't know if it'd be the same without the Sound Assassins, but I'd say you probably have dampened sound 25 to 30%. It's a noticeable difference, the amount of sound that this absorbs now, that it makes it, you go down the road and it just sounds more like a normal car rather than, you don't hear the wind swishing on the fiberglass and stuff the way you did before. It just doesn't do it as much. And we have a lot of wind in my part of Montana. So I figured I'd give you that review. I would definitely say that Hothead headliners are worth every dollar you pay for them. And I think that they've been well designed, and I think they'll probably last a long time. I haven't had any signs of any loosening up or anything like that. And like I said, it's been everything from frozen to 80, 90 degrees. I know it's the temperature outside. I imagine the roof would hit 100 degrees. So that's my review on them. And just figured I'd give that to you, and we'll go from there. I'll tell you about a couple other projects if you keep watching. My Gladiator's going through a transformation. So there's going to be regular videos on a lot of different things that are getting done. So each video, some of them are going to be really short because if there's already a great video out there on how to install something or do something, I'm just going to make it a little bit shorter to show you what I've found in my install. And we'll be talking about those things. So keep watching. I got more coming.